We've touched on Minnesota. We've talked about Philadelphia. Now let's go to New Orleans, where Zion Williamson is fat. That's not me fat shaming. I would never do that. I'm saying that because that is the complaint of the organization. It is in articles. Evan was sending me excerpts the other day, just trying to wrap his mind around what is going on there with management and David Griffin. First it's Zion, who of course, has a body that is, and this is not even talking about shape or stature. It's, he is at times been viewed as out of shape. There are injury concerns. It goes back to college, obviously. And then he goes into his first rookie training camp. They called him fat. And then there's the long layoff because of the pandemic, comes back into the bubble. They said he's fatter. Okay. The organization has not been supporting Zion Williamson, or maybe he has not been complying, or somewhere in the middle, obviously, to the point where, and this, like, Evan could speak to this better than me, but he sent me this article. David Griffin is showing up to Zion's room. He's playing songs on a piano for him about how to buy in and how to be better. This is a disaster. Like, this is how long until Zion's contract is up before he goes to the Knicks or somewhere else?
Yeah. Usually the way it works is, as an organization, you get those first 4 years, and then the guy always signs the extension, no matter what, whatever the complaints are, or whatever you hear, you always sign the extension, because you're going from 8-9 million a year up to 27-28 million a year. Nobody's going to turn that down. So I would be shocked if New Orleans wasn't able to get Zion to sign an extension. However, things have gone so badly in these first 2 years that he might be one of the first guys who gets traded that way. I mean, you can think way back, Kevin Love, when he first signed his extension, his first 3-4 years in Minnesota, everybody was saying, oh, he wants out. And they put that big contract in front of you. It's impossible not to sign it. But this is something that seems to be a little different. I mean, Zion's got a lot of Nike money. And from what I understand, it's more if he winds up in a bigger market. So that's something to keep an eye on. So he might have more incentive than just about anybody to force his way out beforehand. And this is a New Orleans franchise that, of course, is still reeling from the Anthony Davis stuff. And David Griffin was brought in part to clean up that mess and to make sure that didn't happen again. And the guy, that he drafts with that first pick 2 years later now looks to be on that same path. So, like I said, it's very rare for a guy to who's still on a rookie deal to be in any kind of position to force a trade. However, this looks to be a situation where, it's hard to see how it resolves itself. It really is. So, if you're New Orleans, there's no way you want to trade Zion Williamson. But if it's heading that way, you might want to get out in front of it. And if you're going to be rebuilding, then strike while the iron is hot. Don't wait too long. Don't wait till you're in this kind of situation that Philadelphia's in with Ben Simmons.
Yeah, I mean, look, if to give this a Boston angle, I would do anything beside outside of Tatum. You can have anything. I don't care what it is. Don't care who it is. How many picks. Whatever it takes. It feels, as Adam and I have talked about via text, feels like the Knicks, that's where it's going, because it just feels like, as you said, bigger market, Nike chips in more money. And that feels like a destination. So if you're Boston, to get out in front of this, try and because again, you could probably sell Zion on Boston if things worked out well. It's not like Tatum's doing pretty well for himself endorsement wise. Considering his age and considering the quote unquote market he's all over the place. I love it. I love seeing Tatum in commercials. The 2K commercial where he's kicking somebody's ass on 2K with just Jason Tatum, I think is actually just brilliant. I thought he did really well there. All the Jordan stuff, the Bows, is it Bows or Beats or whatever the hell he does for
Subway.
Subway,
yeah.
Draymond. I mean, it's obviously not hurt him at all. Just, I think if you're Boston, I would call Griffin up, because it looks, if I were Griff, like, you're not trading him to the Western Conference, obviously, if you can avoid it. And this is all very, very premature. But just to keep it related, I would drive, and I love Jalen, and I wouldn't trade Jalen for Cat, only because I'm a little worried about Cat not being able to get anybody to the playoffs, even though he's in the Western Conference.
Yeah,
But
but I'm sorry. Go ahead, Evan.
I would drive Jalen to the airport myself
Yeah.
to do it. And again, I love Jalen. Jalen is one of my favorite people in the NBA, period. We might get to his article later in the show with Mark Spears. He just continues to be not just an NBA player, but just a really good person and a really great voice, using his platform for really powerful things. And especially in Boston, where a voice like that is desperately needed. I think so highly of him. And even though I think the world of Jaylen Brown, I would still drive him to the airport to get Zion Williamson. It's the way it is.
But to be clear, I mean, and you're absolutely right that's the reason that they're not going to trade Zion Williamson this year, certainly. Last year was a disaster for New Orleans, no question. Stan Van Gundy, I had no idea what that hire was all about right from the beginning. That seemed to be a terrible idea. But Willie Green, I think, has a chance to be a pretty good coach, and definitely is a guy who, as a former player, has a certain rapport that Stan was never going to have, and has a reputation as a player development guy as well. So if you can kind of scotch last year altogether and put that behind you and hope that you can kind of start over with Willie Green here, then maybe that calms things down. That has to be the organization's hope at this point. So at least for this season, we're not going to see any kind of Zion Williamson. Not any real trade talks on Zion.